It's 6:15. Time to start the meeting. Time to start the meeting.
All right.
Krista, we're going to start the meeting. We need you to be quiet, please. Ms. Krista, we're going to start the meeting. Can you, this is the time for the meeting. May we start it? May we start it? We're going to start the meeting, ma'am. Thank you. We're going to ready.
All right. The time is 6:16, and this is the Community Development Committee meeting. And can I get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez. Alderman Martinez. I don't know if we got the couple we're missing. Alderman Martinez and Alderman Bolton and Alderman Hayes.
Alderman Martinez.
Ma'am,
We're
you
doing a
need
roll
to,
call.
ma'am, we're trying to conduct the meeting. Ma'am? It's your meeting. It's your meeting.
Yes. Can Krista, can you please wait till we're done with the meeting?
She needs to leave.
Krista. Krista, we're happy to address, but we're gonna have to remove. All right, we're gonna have to have order. Krista, can you move to? Can we wait till we're done? All right, the time is 6:19. We're gonna go ahead and start the Community Development Committee meeting. Can we get a roll call, please?
Alderman Martinez.
Present.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Present.
Alderman Hayes.
Present.
Vice Chair Bolton.
Present.
And Chairman Felix.
Present.
You have a quorum, sir.
Right. We can get a first and a second to approve the minutes for the July 7th, 2025 regular meeting.
So move.
Second.
First
Second.
by First by Alderman Moulton, second by Alderman Martinez. Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Donworth. Roll call for the minutes, correct, sir?
Here.
Alderman Donworth.
Present.
Alderman.
Aye.
That would be aye or yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez. Aye. Vice Chair Bolton.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion's approved.
Motion approved. Item number 2. There is none. We have anyone for audience time? All right.
Good evening, council and community. I'm so glad that I just made it here. Maybe this is God's tuition for me to be here at this moment. Because at the last city council meeting, we were told that committees was changed. Nobody explained to this community who was in charge of what committee, right? And so me coming here today to this meeting and to see that this alderman is in charge of this committee, I want to ask a lot of you aldermen, and Ms. Bowden, I need you to pay attention when I say this. I want all of y'all to listen to me. What message are y'all sending to this community when you promote people for bad behavior? We had a resident come up here and say that a sitting alderman told her she had to take her permit back. A sitting alderman, and I'm talking to you, attorney, because I know there's a code of ethics or something. And from your understanding, nothing was done wrong. But what do we say to this community? That it's okay to bully? That was acceptable behavior? That we reward people for this type of behavior? Is this what we saying to the community? Because all of y'all gonna have to answer when y'all go to this ballot box. Nobody spoke out. Nobody apologized to that community member. Nobody said to her, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But let us somebody like me come up here and do certain things. You guys are ready to crucify me. You want to punish ordinary people like myself. I'm talking to every last one of y'all, Bowden, Guzman, Martinez. I'm talking to the attorney, Donworth, Florian, and Hayes, and every other alderman that sits on this dais. As leaders, you're supposed to set the pace, and you set the tone. And he didn't do that. And so as somebody in this community, I'm afraid now that I have to step on eggshells because a sitting alderman can come to me and say certain things and there's no punishment to them. Newsflash, y'all. Ray been talking to the Attorney General. I'm understanding more and more about recall, how it works, and what I need to make it happen. And we will be educating this community on that. Because one thing that we have to know now, we don't have to sit silent for 4 years to wait to punish an elected official for being a bully. Thank you.
Anyone else? That's it? All right. There's no new old business. On to new business. Line item 5A. Can I get a first and a second? For an ordinance approving a variance for an accessory structure setback at 705 Chestnut Street. That's in zoning calendar number 2786. First and a second, please.
Second.
First by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman, was it Hayes? Alderman Hayes. Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bolton.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion is passed, sir.
Do you guys have any questions? I apologize, I didn't ask you guys. Any questions? No no questions. Line item 5B, ordinance, can I get a first and a second for ordinance approving a conditional use permit for motor vehicle repair and/or service with the variance to operate in a lot smaller than 15,000 square feet at 840 Grand Avenue. That's in zoning calendar number 2787. Any questions? Yes?
I know I'm not on the committee. Do you want to see if one of your committee people has a question first?
Any questions for the sitting committee?
Do we?
Alderman
I'm
Fleury?
sorry, I have
Oh,
a question.
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Actually, where is 840 Grand Avenue?
It's on Jackson and Grand Avenue. There's a BP, and then right next to it, there's a repair shop, or was it a repair shop?
Okay, all right, thank you.
Alderman Florian?
I was at the planning and zoning meeting where this was discussed, and I know this is a property that's been vacant for quite some time, so it's exciting that someone wants to put something there. But one of my pet peeves is these auto repair places that end up looking like a junkyard. And one of the reasons we have the lot size, I believe, Noel, correct me if I'm wrong, is so they have enough room to park vehicles for the employees, the repair vehicles, blah, blah, blah. So I just want to make sure that we have a way to hold people's feet to the fire, because the one that really peeves me is the guy, I think it's your ward. It's Macquarie, or whatever Macquarie turns into. Well, actually, it's the dividing line. And every time I drive by there, looks like a junkyard. He's got cars in the aisles. Since this is a variance to operate on an even smaller lot, I just want to make sure there's a way to assure it's not going to start looking junky 2 weeks after they open. So they're not, and to clarify, this is just for repairs, not for sales, correct?
Yes, no, you can, what does that CUP look like?
Sure. I think you'll actually be very happy with the site improvements that the owner of this property is proposing. They're installing a large amount of landscaping that isn't there, and they're doing that voluntarily. They will also have 8 striped parking spaces in addition to 1 handicapped accessible parking space on the lot, plus the storage in the bays. So they should have sufficient space for their employees and customers. The enforcement tool that we have is our code enforcement division, specifically the licensing and zoning officer. So many of you have heard me say this before. We need more tools for enforcement. We need more staff. So when you're looking at budgets and staffing, our enforcement ability could be reinforced with more bodies to help do that. We're a big city to have the limited number of enforcement staff we have. And that's not my budget, that's the building commissioner's budget, but it's important to have that ability.
Alderman Florian?
Isn't there 2 new licensing staff? Is there going to be any enforcement with those 2 people, or is that?
I don't know how licensing is going to work, but typically enforcement is out of the enforcement division,
Okay, thank you.
but not my jurisdiction.
Alderman Hayes?
I did see the landscaping plan on both sides, I think, there at that corner. How quickly will they implement the landscaping improvements? Or how quickly are they required to?
Yeah, so our requirement typically is 2 years. We give them 24 months to do that. However, they do want to improve the parking lot, so I think that it will be faster in this case.
Alderman Guzman? Any other questions, Alderman Hayes? Alderman Guzman?
Okay, to piggyback on Alderman Fleury, what she was saying, I understand that because I have a couple issues with a couple places. I mean, what else can be done for this variance, or what else can be done if this does happen, or is just code enforcement?
It's enforcement, so part of it is getting complaints. Code enforcement needs documents in the file when they go before administrative adjudication or before a judge to present a case. So having complaints on record from aldermen, from neighbors, from residents that they're seeing problems, because with the limited staff, they can only be out in the field so many places at once in a given day. So having those complaints on file, there are phone numbers, and I believe, Building Commissioner, there is an online form to file too?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. So a resident or an alderman can file a complaint online and say what they're seeing, you know, cars parked all over the lot, and that helps build the case. It papers the file so that when the representative does go to administrative adjudication to say, we have all these complaints about this property, there's documentation of that on the record. And that empowers the judge or the adjudicator to impose fines and, you know, for us to look at revoking business licenses and things like that down the road if necessary.
Great, thank you.
And
Thank you for
Alderman-
the advice, because I'm going to be following up with that, because I have a couple places in my place that need to be taken care of, and
Absolutely.
I'm done with the whole thing.
And Alderman, also, this is in, I believe in the Fourth Ward. I believe I do know the owner, but I mean, the corridor is one of the nicer ones, so please let me know if it sticks out like a sore thumb. That way I can go and talk to the owner and then let them know, if you guys see anything, of course. Alderman Martinez?
Yeah, I just want to comment, I'm very familiar with that area. That's a very highly congested area. There's no parking. You have two successful businesses, the hair salon, and you also have the, I think they sell used clothes there. A lot of time, from my observation, a lot of the customers are parking in that area now. Right now, it's closed. So I just wanted to bring that up, that it's going to be interesting to see how they can maneuver that, because there is no parking. You know, they have to park, there's maybe one or two in back of each business, but it's a very, very highly congested. Cars are going there 30, 40 miles an hour. So I look forward to see how they're going to maneuver that with
I
no
know
parking.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir. For a prior business license at that building at the southeast corner, they were able to demonstrate that they had a parking agreement with the property on the southwest corner, where the building had been torn down previously. There was an agreement between the property owners for parking to take place there. So it's possible that tenants or customers are parking someplace they're not supposed to be parking, but occupying the building will make that stop happening. So once there's a business there
Yeah,
and
it'd
they're
be
using
interesting
this,
seeing how that's going to work out. But yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree. It needs to be.
people will be safer crossing Jackson also than they are crossing Grand there. Hopefully all crossing at the traffic signal.
Yeah. They cut through, you know, but, yeah, but I just wanted to mention that. It's very congested.
Thank you, yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you, Noel.
Sure.
Can I get a first and a second?
So move.
And first by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Donenworth. Can you get a roll call?
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
No.
Vice Chair Bolton.
Aye.
Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion carries, sir.
All right. Line item 5C, can I get a first and a second for an ordinance increasing the number of Class F1 packaged beer, wine, and gasoline sell liquor licenses by one for S. Rand Gas Station LLC, DBA doing business as BP, over at 2601 Grand Avenue? Can I get a
So move.
first by Alderman Martinez? Can I get a second?
Second.
Alderman Donenworth. Any questions? Alderman Florian?
I know I'm not on the committee. When I was reviewing the application, in one section, it said that they lived in Waukegan, and they gave the address of the gas station as their address, but then in another section of the application, it gave their address, I forget where it was, I was looking for my notes. So I don't know if that matters in the long run, that the address was wrong in one location, because I'm assuming they don't live at the gas station. So,
Is this finance that's handling this currently, Juan, the liquor licenses, or who is gonna be handling the liquor licenses from now on?
Good evening, everyone. That's going to be the licensing department that's going to be handling those, and I don't believe Susanna is here at the moment.
Okay. We can come back to that one.
you don't need to hold it up just for that, but I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
But that was a good catch, yeah.
Well, we can, just so you can have your question answered, we can move on to the next one and come back to it as soon as she's back. Actually, she's on her way here. Okay. We'll just wait for Susanna. Hello, Susanna. We just have a question regarding the liquor license for the Grand Avenue location, 2601 Grand Avenue. Alderman Florian's stating that the application, the applicant put his home, where he lives, as the location he's applying for. So is that something that we would need to get fixed?
We'll probably need to look into it and review it before.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't live at the gas station. I mean, it's a very small gas station.
Is the applicant here?
Oh, yeah. Do you mind?
Where do you live?
Was that an error?
I live in Woodridge. Woodridge? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Are we able to get that changed?
So when I initially did the application, I already own a gas station in Waukegan on Grand Avenue. So the first time I did it, they told me to put a location address on the application because it's not me, like, the license isn't gonna be under me, it's gonna be under the corporation, so the corporation is entitled to the location.
Maybe we need to revamp our license, but it specifically said, are you a Waukegan resident? And you said yes. And then it said address, and you put the address of the gas station.
That's the
Then
thing,
later in the
yeah.
application, it asked for your address, and you gave wherever you just said.
Exactly. So
It's just incongruent. And one of the problems, the reason I look at this carefully, one of the problems we have had in the past is people say they forgot to renew their license because they didn't get the renewal. So I like to make sure we have the correct address. Where does the renewal need to go? So you won't be here next March or, well,
December,
July,
yeah.
saying, oh, I never got the renewal because you sent it to the wrong address. So we need to know what the exact address is, and that needs to be clearly, demarked so that we know where to send the renewal to.
Right,
basically.
right.
If we may, we'll vote this through. It's not going to be in the regular council meeting till the next meeting, am I correct? So can we get that changed or fixed in the meantime?
Yeah, I can change it. I can put the address, update the address on that page and resubmit
So are
that.
we holding it over?
With him. I'll make sure.
I don't think it's necessary.
Are we holding it over till that is corrected?
No, I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. We can vote it through. It's not going to be voted on regular council meeting till the next one, so they can make that change. Can I get a roll call? Oh, yeah, can I get a roll call? Or first and a second? Did we do that already?
I have a first from Alderman Martinez and a second from Alderman Donworth, sir.
Can we get a roll call?
Alderman Donworth.
Aye.
Alderman Hayes.
No.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bolton.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
4-1, sir. Motion carries.
Thank you. If you can get with Susanna to make that update. Figure out a time. Line item 5D. Can I get a first and a second for an ordinance increasing the number of Class K catering liquor licenses by 1 for College of Lake County over at 34 North Sheridan Road?
First?
I second.
First by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Bolton. This is, any questions? No questions? Can I get a roll call?
Alderman Hayes.
Aye.
Alderman Martinez.
Aye.
Alderman Donnerworth.
Aye.
Vice Chair Bolton.
Aye.
And Chairman Felix.
Aye.
Motion carries, sir.
All right. Reports and communication, we have a presentation for Community Development Block Grant Program, an expansion presentation. If we may have, hello?
Hi, good evening. I am Cynthia Jackson. I'm the Compliance Coordinator for Community Development Block Grant. Our director is Larissa Garland. She is out, and so I'm going to do the presentation on her behalf. We attached our PowerPoint to the minutes, so hopefully you've had an opportunity to review it. I'm not going to go through everything that's in the PowerPoint. The crux of our request is we're hoping that the city will be able to help us expand our rehab program. The Community Development Block Grant Program actually has 3 different components. We have the grants program, which covers public services, as well as our micro enterprise grant. And then we have the housing rehab program, which is the program that we're here to talk about today. Our department traditionally has been completely funded by HUD funds. This year, and we're excited, we received a grant from the state of Illinois, from the Illinois Housing Development Authority, which is $360,000. This is the first time that we received this grant, so we're excited about that. Our funding from HUD, we have received a letter from HUD saying that our funding will be decreased, but that we will receive some allocations. As of this very moment, we have not received a contract from HUD, nor do we have access to the funds for program year 2025. So we're hoping that we will be able to access those funds eventually, but as it stands right now, we do not have any funds from HUD for program year 2025. If we do, they will be reduced from what we received in 2024. And we're expecting, if you follow what's happening with the federal government and their funding, we expect that those funds will be reduced again. So we're here asking the city to help us expand our rehab program. And what I'd like to do before I move any further is just ask you to take a moment to look at the pictures in the slide. We included a couple of projects that we've done in the past. This is a before a picture where we rehab the house, the bathroom. This is afterwards. You can see that the door was increased so that the wheelchair could go in. The person was not completely immobile, but she needed a wheelchair or a walker to get into the bathroom. So that was one rehab that we did. If we can move to the next slide. This is a house where the roof was deteriorating and water was coming in from the roof. So this is inside, a look at the ceiling from inside the house. If we move to the next slide, you can see the ceiling after we did the rehab in this particular house so that the water was not coming in through the roof anymore. We can move to the next slide. We have a kitchen that is totally demolished. They weren't able to cook in the kitchen, and this is how it looked before. If we can move to the next slide, this will be after we did rehab in the kitchen. This particular person was an elderly lady who lived by herself, and she said she just wasn't able to keep her house up, so we were able to rehab with this particular house. And then if we move to the last one, this is a house that had received several violations from code compliance because of the exterior of the house. And then if we move to the next one, this is how it looked after we finished the rehab project. And I'm thinking the people who are the neighbors are probably pretty excited about the upgrades to that particular house. Most of the people that we serve fall into 2 categories. Either there's an emergency situation where something is happening and it's a life safety event, water coming in, sewer backing up, or someone has had a medical condition where now they need rails in the bathroom, ramps, lifts of that nature. We also have which we call substantial projects, and that's what we're here to talk about today. And those are people who have received code compliance violations, not necessarily life safety issues, but code compliance violations, and they need assistance in terms of getting their houses back up to code. And so we put them on the waiting list. So if you looked at our presentation, you see that we have 82 homes on our current waiting list, and it's been taking us about 2 years to work through that list. So you could possibly be on the list for a little more than 2 years. And so with the increased funding, we are going to be able to, if you guys approve it, we're going to be able to take our part-time rehab coordinator, make him full-time, and then we will be able to work through that wait list a little faster than we are right now. Yes, sir.
Just a question. Okay, so
Yes.
how are we for sure that these people need the money and they're just not scamming us?
Okay, because what we do, and there are several ways that we do that. First of all, we have a whole documentation process. With the HUD funding, there are guidelines that we have to follow. They have to bring in their tax returns. They have to bring in their bank statements. They have to bring in anybody that's over 18 that works in the home. They have to document how much money they're receiving. So there are guidelines for that. And then we also have, which I think is important to your point, is we have a lien that is placed on the property. So if we did $25,000 worth of work, you'd have a $25,000 lien. That lien would stay on your house after 5 years. 50% of that lien is forgiven. And then after 10 years, the other 50% is forgiven. And so, one, we're not going to fix up your house and then you flip it, because if you do, you'll have to pay us back. But the whole purpose is for people to live in safe, sanitary housing and stay in place. So we want them to live in their homes and stay in their home, and the lien helps us with that.
Exactly. So I just wanted to clarify that because a couple people called me up and I told them the same thing, and I just wanted to make sure it's coming from.
People are concerned about the liens, but we take the time to explain to them that it is forgivable if they stay in their homes for that period of time.
Okay.
If they leave their home or sell their home, then they have to repay back the lien.
Okay, one last question.
Yes.
I have a gentleman on 10th Street and Lewis. Gentleman's blind, and what helped? Does this kind of stuff help out for his tree and his siding in front?
For his trees?
No, one tree, a big tree. So he needs to get that removed, and then the siding in front.
Okay, we can't, when we follow the HUD guidelines, we can't do anything with trees. Now, if the tree fell on the house, we'd be able to help with the repairs of the house. But in terms of removing trees or cutting down trees, those types of activities are not permissible under the HUD guidelines.
Who would be in charge of that?
In charge of the trees?
To remove it for the resident that doesn't have the money for it.
That wouldn't be our department.
Okay, thank you. But you guys would help out with the siding, correct?
Yes, we could help out with the siding or anything that involves the house. We could do that.
Okay.
Because the program is for single-family owner-occupied housing. So if he had problems with his siding, with the roof, needed a ramp, a lift, we could do that. But removing the trees, that's not a permissible activity under the HUD guidelines.
Sounds great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for that. So as long as you were talking about the liens, I'll ask about that first. So how often do we get paid back from the liens? Like,
Not very often. Most people stay in their homes the entire time.
so if we do get paid back, the money just goes back into?
Money goes back into the program.
Okay,
It's called
all right.
program income. It goes right back into the program, and we use it to assist someone else.
But we do keep track of that somehow?
Oh, absolutely.
And
yes.
can we see those numbers eventually?
You
sometime?
certainly can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. And
Let me just, I'm sorry, let me just make sure that I'm clear. You want to know how much program income we received and from which houses?
Not necessarily which houses, but like over the years, you know, in the last 10 years, we've received X amount of dollars back from the liens.
Yes.
I'm kind of looking for a percentage, basically, but.
Okay, yep, we can give you that information.
Okay, thank you. And then, is it, I don't know if I want to use the word legal, but can we mix local tax dollars with the federal dollars in this program? Because isn't there's precise guidelines on the federal dollars. So how are we going to keep track of which dollar is which, and which ones need to follow the federal guidelines, and which ones maybe don't, and who's going to do all of that?
We will do all of that, and we already do that, because we have the state funds, which have a particular guidelines that we have to follow for the state. We have HUD funds, guidelines that we have to follow for HUD funds, and we also have home funds, which also have a different requirements. So they would not be commingled. They would all have their own separate line item, their own separate guidelines, and we make sure that we follow the guidelines based on the type of work that's done. Let me give you an example. Home funds can only be used for substantials. So if there's an emergency, that emergency funding would have to come from HUD funds. If there was a substantial that we were able to do, that would come then out of home funds. We track what type of work it is and the funding source.
Okay, so what guidelines will this money be following?
Well, we would like to follow as much as we could the HUD guidelines so that the benefits are the same. However, we don't have to, because it is the city of Waukegan's money. So if there's a particular guideline that you'd like us to implement, we could do that. If there were particular suggestions that you wanted to make, we could follow those. Because it's the city of Waukegan's money, the city of Waukegan would set the criteria, and then we would follow that criteria.
Okay, I have just two more quick questions. So how, is everything you guys send out to the public in both English and Spanish?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And everything that we have is available in English and Spanish.
Okay, and then one last question. The $400,000 you're asking for, you said is gonna, number one, go to rehab only 15 additional homes, and then all of this stuff for personnel. So how much of the $400,000 is going to the homes, and how much is going to personnel?
Well, for the HUD, we spend up to $50,000 per home. So depending upon what type of work needs to be done, we could spend as little as $10,000 if they only needed $10,000, but we cap at 50. And so that's an estimate in terms of how many houses that we think we could help. In terms of the personnel, I'm not sure exactly how much of that would go towards personnel. I can tell you that for HUD, we can only do 20% for admin, and we're at 18.3% already. So, but if you need to know specifically, we can ask our finance team to give you that number.
If you're gonna ask me to vote on this, I'm gonna wanna know.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm not privy to people's salaries, but I'm certainly.
Oh, yes, you are. The whole public can see
Well-
everybody's salary, and that works at City Hall.
True.
You just have to look it up.
That is true. But what I'm saying is that I'm not the person that would make the decision on how much that person would make. So that director would have the conversation with finance, and then they can give you that information. Because I don't know how much the person would make in those particular positions.
Thank you very much.
All right, we have one more comment, Alderman Martinez.
Thank you, Alderman. The way I look at it a humanitarian side of it. Look, you guys provided a wish list, and I know at least 4 senior citizens who have been diligent in trying to get their houses fixed. You guys did a very good job making sure that they did qualify, and these are senior citizens that I personally know because I've been working with them, and the simple fact, they've been waiting. So, I mean, these are homes that really need it. So I like to look at the humanitarian side of it. All the numbers will work out, but the simple fact is that I can vouch for specifically for my waiting list because I've been in her house and I've seen the damage and nothing's been fixed yet. So I welcome it, and I support it, and I can't wait for us to go ahead and finally get something done.
Well, certainly the request is an investment in terms of the residents for the city of Waukegan, for sure. Most of the people that we service are elderly, although that's not a requirement, but we see that most of the people that come to us for assistance are elderly, they are seniors, most of them are on fixed income. However, that's not a requirement, it's not a senior citizens program, but that's who we see most often. Most often we see seniors, most often they're talking about bathrooms, roofs, ramps is pretty much what we see. Our list is our list, and we work through it as best as we can. And if we have funding to do it, we can do it. If not, then we just have to wait additionally for additional funding.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Yes, sir.
Alderman
You had your hand
Hayes.
raised?
And thank you for taking the time to speak with me on Friday. I really appreciate it.
We appreciate the opportunity.
So the list that you provided here, is everybody on this list already approved?
No, no, they're not. What they are, we have an initial application where the people fill out the initial application. We determine, based on what they've told us, that they would qualify. However, when we get to them is when they have to fill out the entire application, where they have to turn in their tax returns, their bank statements, and that sort of thing. So that list is people who have said that based on what the requirements are that they qualify. When we get to them, then we have to determine that they actually do qualify.
Okay, so, because it's labeled as a waiting list.
It is.
All right, but it's not necessarily a waiting list because not everybody on here qualifies for the services that we know of, right?
Yes, I would say that that is correct, because they have not all been vetted with a full application. You are correct.
All right. Without doing the math, I think when we spoke the other day, I think you said it was like 82.
There are 82.
So I think I was surprised to hear that there were 82 and thought, oh, okay, well, I can see how we might want to expedite that process. But if we don't even know how many of these people will qualify for the work, it gives me pause to allocate funding to do the work that we don't even know that they qualify for.
Well,
So
I will say this. We have not had an opportunity, we have not seen an opportunity where we've gotten to someone who has initially qualified and then not qualified. What we see most often is by the time we get to that person has either died, is in a nursing home. That's where the unqualification comes from, not based on income. It's based on circumstances. And most of the time, by the time we get to them, if they don't qualify, it's because they're no longer able. They don't live there, they've died, the family is selling a house, that sort of thing. But not because initially they looked at their income and said that they qualified and then didn't.
okay, just a couple more questions. I know we're up against a deadline here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Has CDBG ever asked the city for money like this before?
I've only been in CDBG for a year and a half. I don't believe so. Larissa would be able to answer that question specifically. I know that what she has said is for the last 15 years, CDBG has only been funded by HUD funds.
Okay, thank you. And the reason I ask is because Larissa comes before us a couple times a year and does a great job with her presentations and explains all the benefits of what her group is doing. But there's always money left over, as I understand it. There seems to be money left from program year to program year. So if that money, and maybe I'm wrong about this, and I would welcome you guys to show us the numbers on it, but if we have money left over from each year, I don't know why we'd be allocating more. So that's just one concern, because I know we're not voting on this tonight, and I know that we're trying to move this thing along, but that's one concern. My other concern generally is just about hiring. The city, though, may be in a better financial state than it has been for many years. These last few years, we've been in a pretty good financial condition, I'll say that. But it seems like there's a lot of hiring that's gone on lately, and I'm nervous about how we're going to continue to fund this headcount into the future. So as it relates directly to CDBG, if the money that comes from the city this year goes to pay for making a rehab coordinator from part-time to full-time, an office supervisor from part-time to full-time, and increasing the hourly wage or hourly rate, I think, for one of the employees, how are we going to fund that next year?
Well, those are the requests. And if it's approved, that's great. I don't know about the funding, the hiring of any other department. However, if we increase the number of houses that we can support, we can't do that without increasing the time that we have for the hours that we have for our rehab coordinator. We have a full-time rehab coordinator, a part-time rehab coordinator, and 2 part-time admins to run the entire department. Our entire department is 6 people, and we do all of that with 6 folks. We would love to be able to go through our list faster, but we can't do that if we can't increase the number of hours of our rehab coordinator. I mean, we would certainly take the money, but then they would still be waiting the 2 years to get the houses done. That was the first thing. The other thing about money left over, we don't have any money left over from our program from year to year. Now, what you might be thinking about is maybe a little bit of program income that comes in, but all of our money is spent before the end of the year. Matter of fact, what happens is that the city generally has to support us financially until we get the next year's funding from HUD. So we don't have any money left over. I don't know where that came from, but we can show you our dollars. Our money is spent before the year is up. The other thing that I'm going to say,
Cynthia?
though, is
there any, just want to make sure, it's 7:01. Is there any way that you can meet with Alderman Hayes and go over some of these other
We've
questions?
met once before. We'll do it again. I think some of this is a benefit for everybody to hear, but
I just want to wrap up my
Yeah,
one last point,
yes,
if
please.
I could. And that point is about asking before. I think part of the feel is because our money has been decreasing every year from HUD. So when HUD was sending money and the programs were working, I don't think that there was necessarily a feel that we needed additional money. However, our monies are decreasing and our requests are increasing. So we're having more people trying to get services with less money, which is why now we're looking at grants, we're asking the city, and doing all kinds of other things that we can do to increase the number of money that we have. So I think that's to that point.
okay, that's super helpful. Thank you very much. I think just big picture, one of my biggest concerns is that we're taking tax dollars that belong to everybody in the city, or casino funds or cannabis funds, wherever they're coming from, but they are, in theory, belong to everybody.
Sure.
And if we're going to take those dollars and we're going to give them to 15 people and then hire 2 people, it doesn't seem like the most equitable use of the funds. And I don't deny that people on this list need help, and I want them to have that help, so that's not what I'm saying. It's the same thing I said to you on Friday.
No,
And
I
I was thinking about it this weekend, and it's just gives me concern that we're going to take money from everybody else and just give it to a select few. And that just causes me a little bit of concern. And that's what I wanted people to hear, because I'm hoping that people, if they care, will weigh in over the next 2 weeks before we vote on it.
And my only response to that is I don't know any program where every resident benefits from it. Whatever programs you support, not every resident in the city will benefit from whatever that program is. And so it's just a matter of what your priorities are. And our request is that we're asking you, and it's not just those 15 people, it's the entire neighborhood. That house right there, yes, it benefited the people that live there, but it also benefited the entire block, because now they no longer have an eyesore on their block. So
Thank you,
it's just
Cynthia.
your priorities.
All right. This meeting will be adjourned. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. If anyone has any questions, just give us a call. We'd be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you.
And thank you for considering our requests.
All right. Can I get a first and a second to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
First by Alderman Martinez, second by Alderman Donenworth. Can I get a all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 7:04. Thank you.